Could have had a touch. I think he fired away a little bit too quickly there, because it's got to wait for it to come across his body and doesn't quite open himself up enough to get it back across the keeper.
Hincapie's involvement there and blocking that one in his own box, I think, is going to be his last contribution. He's coming off. Ben White is coming off at the back as well. Gabriel is on. Julian Timber is on. Two regulars from the defence that have dominated the opening weeks of the Premier League season. And Saka summoned at this stage also, I think, for the last 20 minutes. So Ben White's part played against his former club. Timber has been keeping him out of the team in the Premier League. He's been so impressive, hasn't he, so far this season. And Dowman's day is done. First Arsenal start, their youngest ever starter, ends a little early here on the academy graduate.
Who does he remind me of now, Phil? I'll go back because
go on, tell us now.
They rudely interrupted me, Brighton, by creating that chance. Graham Rix and Liam Brady. How about that for left-footers?
What a combination.
Both had that lovely drop of the shoulder. Liam Brady was absolutely brilliant. Graham Rix, a top player as well. And that kid's destined for the top for me, if he can keep away from injuries.
His first Arsenal start. It will not surely be his last, but he is replaced by Bukayo Saka. That's quite a player to be able to introduce at this point in the game. He was a little subdued and came off in the second half against Crystal Palace at the weekend, but it became clear afterwards he'd been suffering a bit through illness, but perhaps fit to feature today, and here he is involved for the first time. Immediately looking for Harriman Anus. A show of faith in him, and amongst all the Arsenal changes, the debutant stays out there up top. Arsenal win the free kick. Eza going down.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a keenly contested final 19 minutes or so. Brighton are going to go for it, and Arsenal have got to try and pick them off in, as Brighton do go for it, and try and pick them off on the break and just kill this tie off.
Neri assuming responsibility for the free kick here for Arsenal. The scorer trying to turn provider. On it goes. Gabriel only just on is straight into it in those sort of situations, and it nearly came for Saka as well. Didn't quite have the angle.
Different proposition when he comes on the pitch. One of the best at attacking the ball, isn't he, in the Premier League, Gabriel? Gets onto the first one and the second one, which is blocked, but such a physical force and got such a great spring. Gives him a little bit of a head start when he's standing at 6'3" or so, but when you've got such a good spring as well and you're physical, very, very difficult to stop.
His presence may well be important here as well in the corner to come. And Saka having taken over the captain's armband, he did skip it aside in the last round of this competition as well. Partially cleared that one. Eza was tussling for it. It fell for Wanyeri. And a big deflection takes it behind for another Arsenal corner.
A good strike. I think it would have been going on target. Catches it nice on the half volley. Has to take it on. The opportunity, yeah, would have been hitting the target. So an important block.
Ayari that it came off. Everyone that had ventured forward for Arsenal has stayed forward here. Another one out of the Nicholas Jova handbook on the training ground as they all make their way to try and meet it. Rising the highest there was Marino. Looked like he was set to score, but it's been kept out on the line. Lewis Skelly returns it towards Saka. Still with Bukayo Saka. And again, a bit more room in which to operate this time. Everybody still to aim at in the middle. He will have to settle for another corner, will he? That's what he's hoping for at the end of that.
He's trying to claim the handball, I think, Phil, as the sliding challenge come in, but I don't think there was any intent. But Here's the chance from the corner. No, it's not Gabriel, it's Marino, but it's Gabriel who causes all the mayhem. He's pushing, shoving, making himself a little bit of a force. Marino gets on the end of it, but just saved on that near post. As soon as Gabriel's come on, there's chaos.
And Marino is adept in those situations himself as well, isn't he? Four-headed goals already this year.
Very good in the airfield. Goes under the radar, really. But they're, look, claiming for the handball there. Not for me.
There's Watson getting back. He turned it behind. It would have been harsh, I think. And VAR, of course, tonight. So Saka to try again with the latest Arsenal corner. Marino once more is rising. They tried something very similar, but Simas is able to clear it this time.
Great deliveries as well. Doesn't allow the keeper to come for it because it's coming at such a pace. It's hard for the keeper to move his feet. Also just gain a yard in that congested penalty area. So difficult for keepers nowadays. They're fizzed in. There's so many people within that 6-yard area. It's very difficult to get out of a flurry of players and get your hand or fist on it.
Axel did back his Brighton side to be able to defend the Arsenal threat. Not many sides have been able to do that, of course, this season. He says he's trying to build a set-piece culture of his own with his side, but that takes time. The season in all competitions. There's the one remaining player that they're desperate to tie down to a long-term contract. Well, Harry Mananoose was involved in the goal. He almost scored it. He's making way here at the end of his debut for Declan Rice. What a player to bring on at this point, 2-0 up.
I wonder if he's going to sling Declan up front. No, he's just
more likely on. Marino, you would imagine.
He's just going to come on, consolidate it in that midfield now. Don't want to give it away. They got to 2-0. Harry Mananoose, lovely little bit part for him to play. And the experience of Declan comes on.
He doesn't have the fondest of memories of this fixture. He was sent off here on Brighton's last visit last season. Early in the campaign was Declan Rice. But he's one of 11 different goal scorers that Arsenal have had in the Premier League already this season. And another new name for the season, of course, on the score sheet tonight in Ethan Nwaneri with the opener. And then Saka having his say, and it's an awful long way back for the Seagulls from here, given that Arsenal have only conceded 3 goals all season.
Saka and Rice coming on, Phil. I mean, they're players who just want to play all the time. You know, it's a great feeling to have in and around the camp. They want to be involved. I'm sure Declan would have said, I want to start tonight, as would Saka as well. Great attitudes towards their playing careers they've had. They want to play every minute of every game, and they're gutted when they're missing out on starting a game.
3 more matches to come before the next international break. Burnley away on Saturday. There's the next one as Minter gives chase here. Kepa came and made sure he reached it first, just. Three away games in a week, actually, for Arsenal after this. That's the 3rd consecutive home game that they've played. Slavia Prague and Sunderland to come after the trip to Turf Moor. There's Boscali. What have Brighton got left? They have made an attacking change. Needs must really. Danny Welbeck on against his former club. An extra defender has been sacrificed in Diego Coppola. Did get his goal against another former side, Manchester United, at the weekend. Did Welbeck. Rice involved straight away, and he was nearly able to help it through for Saka down the middle.
One of those driving runs from Declan Rice that he loves making. Just such a powerful player, isn't he? A powerful player with a great touch as well. Not bad attributes to have.
He's enjoying that number 8 role, really, isn't he, for Arsenal this season? Captain England this month against Wales as well. Boscali. Here's Watson. Van Hecker. Not quite for Welbeck. Watson will reach that, but it just runs away from him. Time is running away for Brighton, and it looks like once again they're running this competition will come to a conclusion at the round of 16 stage. Difficult to see a way back from this.
Great driving run from Timber, way back from in his own half, really drove all into the space. And it's so difficult when you made a run like that, just to compose it came back to Saka, but the run was a really powerful and all contributing factor.
74th Arsenal goal for Bukayo Saka, but only the second that he's ever scored in this EFL Cup competition. The first in a 6-0 second round win at West Bromwich Albion over 4 years ago. Arsenal have had issues of their own at the fourth round stage of the EFL Cup in recent seasons. The 250th game that they've played in the history of this competition does look set to be a winning one now tonight. Lost 3 finals in it since they last won it against Sheffield Wednesday at Wembley under George Graham. Welbeck to Minte. Returns it his way now to Kuiper. Welbeck again. That's Vifer it was, I should say, who had the earlier effort.
All back behind the ball now, Arsenal, where it's going to be difficult to break them down and get back into this one. But they'll be ruining the chances they missed, particularly in that first half. 2 one-on-ones, Phil. Really should have done better. A couple of half chances as well. Arsenal had a lot of possession in that first half, but Brighton looked much more dangerous. But second half, they just had that quality to finish their chances off, and it's killed the game now.
It's made the difference, hasn't it? And it's certainly not the first game this season that has been the case where Arsenal are involved. Aberici Eze, the only player who started at the weekend to keep his spot in the lineup today, was withdrawn late on, and Leandro Trossard on to face a former club. Looking to do against Brighton what Eze managed against Crystal Palace on Sunday, maybe. In fact, when Brighton won here 3 years ago, Trossard was amongst the goals for the opposition. And all of this and all of these changes with the likes of Martinelli, of Martin Ødegaard, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, all still unavailable through injury and set to come back at the latest, Arsenal hope, by the new year, some of them potentially after the next international break. Many of those players who'd been absent last season, and we saw exactly what happened when they were, would have made a much bigger difference than has been the case so far this season. That's the difference, really, isn't it, for Arsenal?
All things slotting into place at the moment. A long way to go in the season, Phil, but all's well at the moment.
There's Watson. The whistle has gone. And I never even mentioned Noni Madueke in that list either, who'd had a big impact before his injury against Manchester City.
There's a lot of quality not around, and it's just it's a really big squad, really big and strong squad as well. In previous seasons, maybe just had a couple of key players gone missing, and it's cost them maybe a couple of titles, they may argue. But not this season. I don't think any excuses. It's there for the taking.
Mikel Arteta talking along those lines, really, says he's never dealt in excuses. He's not shied away from the pressure on his team to win something. All feel right now they could challenge for everything, since is the mood in the camp. Yeah,
just thinking about training games when you're setting one up, 11 up against the other. That's good competition.
Here is Simas. Stepping in was Norgard. And it is that competition for places and the desire to feature that is fueling their charge, that is allowing him to manage the minutes a little bit in games like this. And still finding a way through against top-level opposition.
There's going to be a booking there. Little sign of petulance.
Frustration building at the end for Brighton. And for Pascali in particular on Marino. Wasn't a lot in it, was there?
It was a push, nonetheless. Didn't need that reaction.
Confirmation of his caution. The French defender yet to debut in the Premier League. In the end, as it appears it will be, of Brighton's Carabao Cup run. Means they won't play another cup contest until January in the FA Cup. So the chance for minutes for those on the fringes will be a little reduced in the next few months. Here is Trossard. Finding Declan Rice. Norgard. Away by Van Hecker. Gabriel. Gone favourably for him just for a moment.
The cry went up for Declan Rice to shoot there just as he came on the inside. They all fancied that curler, maybe for the far post. It's Gabriel, just a chest and volley. Good block by Van Hecker, because that was goal bound as well.
So Norgard waiting to take this long throw. Arsenal not done yet. I fancy another one maybe right at the end. And it goes from Christian Norgard, flicked on by Marino, nearly for Saka. Then Waneri, he wants another one. He also wanted the corner, which is not going to be forthcoming this time.
He came back for him on the volley. Just too much into the ground, that one. Didn't get the fizz off the surface.
Third League Cup tie between these clubs. One winner piece going into tonight. This will be Arsenal's first since they put Brighton out in a replay November of 1979 by 4-0 at Highbury. Terry Neal's team taking on Alan Mullery's that night. Yankuba Minter for Brighton. Let's get it back again from Simas, who has a hit. Too many in the way, really. Van Hecker had stayed forward. Kadioglu. Chase on for Watson, and he won't quite reach that. Well, a goal back for Brighton at this stage. It could still be nervy in stoppage time, but a goal back against Arsenal for anybody really in recent weeks has not looked particularly likely.
No, I think they've had their chances, Phil. When Arsenal were at their weakest and that midfield area was a little bit exposed, but bringing on the experience now, it's all sort of battened down those hatches.
Norgard forward. Yeah, it's another game in which Arsenal haven't been necessarily dominant, haven't taken the opposition apart, but haven't necessarily needed to either. They found a way to seemingly extend their winning sequence. (1978) will remain the last time that Brighton got to the League Cup quarter-finals, it would appear.
Yeah, goal came at the right time, didn't it, from Waneri? Before Arteta has sort of rung the changes and got the second goal and consolidated in the game. But I think just the way it's going at the moment, they've had a little bit of good fortune and a little bit of bad finishing from Brighton, but just things all clicking into place at the moment, things happening all at the right time.
Belieber forward there for Brighton. Well, he's featured in every game of every competition that they've played this season. Tonight will be the first time that he's gone the full 90 minutes, Carlos Belieber. And 5 further minutes have just been added on by James Linnington, the 4th official. So that is separating Arsenal from taking their place in the draw once the Newcastle Spurs game is done for the quarter-finals, which will take place, by the way, week commencing the 15th of December. The winner of this, set to be Arsenal, will be ball number 4 in that draw. Welbeck. Kadioglu. The Albion will keep on coming, though. They won't accept their fate. Minte. He's doing his best to keep his feet up against first Trossard and then Lewis Skelly.
Good doubling up by Arsenal. Trossard doing his defensive duties as well as he's obviously his attacking ones. Makes it a little bit easier for Lewis Skelly.
And deep into stoppage time, Arteta remains as animated as ever. Keen to preserve another clean sheet as well. Side had only faced 1 shot on target in the last 3 Premier League games. That came here against Palace at the weekend. So Brighton have proved much more of a threat than his former side. Back off the post it comes. And let off in additional time for Brighton, and 3-0 would have been harsh on the Seagulls, surely.
Sorry, we spoke about those fizzing shots, didn't we, early on in the game, and that one was a little bit better than the Brighton ones. Nearly beat the keeper on that far side, and a little bit unlucky for Trossard.
So it's with Baliba for Brighton. Now Vifa. Watson with back to goal. Ayari. Everybody in red, though, doing their defensive work at this late stage with a 2-goal lead. Looking to see it out. Maintain this remarkable defensive record. Minte has overhit that one. Brighton without time for too many more.
Yeah, Trossard's drive was a good one. It cannoned off the post. You can see edge of the area. I think the keeper still's beaten down as he's going down to his left-hand side there, and just thankful that it comes off the post. But Brighton will be just ruining all those chances they miss, Phil. And if you miss your chances against quality teams, you generally get punished.
And it's certainly been the case for the vast majority in Arsenal's way this season. Still only that 1 defeat all season. So that super Szoboszlai free kick at Anfield. How their fortunes have flipped with Liverpool since then. 7 points clear of the current champions in the Premier League table. Baliba will reach this. Welbeck, who slotted it through to him, lasted the 5 additional minutes now. It's being held up by Gabriel. Gets it back from Vifa. Baliba looking to bend one in threateningly towards Welbeck, nearly for Van Hecke. As much height as there was distance on the clearance from Declan Rice. Ayari is underneath it. Van Hecke helps it on. Welbeck doing likewise here for Minte. Gabriel again is in the way. These 2 now is Trossard. Minte takes it away from him, and the deflection takes it through to Arrizabalaga. That might have been Brighton's last go.
Yeah, kind of telegraphed the first shot that was blocked by Gabriel, but when it came loose, just wriggled himself free, got a bit of a yard deflection, and they're taking the pace off the ball. It was easy for Arrizabalaga.
There's one Eric, slipping it into space for Declan Rice. Trossard calling for it and gets it. Leandro Trossard, Vifa did enough up against him.
Important toe, wasn't it? Because I could just see Trossard maybe sticking a leg out and just toe poking it towards the goal there, but had to get the interception, had to time it perfectly, and he did.
Just about be time for Arsenal to take this corner kick as they look to celebrate their place in the quarter-finals in style. Declan Rice to assume the responsibility, as he has done for most of their season. Slotting home in style, and there was to be no way back for Brighton. It's Arsenal who advance to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. Arsenal 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. It was a luxury, wasn't it, really, for Mikel Arteta to be able to call upon the likes of Saka late in the game. And they made it count, they got the job done, and thus far this season, Tony Gale, that's exactly what they have done, week in, week out.
They have done, but it weren't without a few problems tonight, because in the first half, with all the changes, there was those little gaps in midfield that Brighton exploited, particularly on the break, and on the break they created 2 or 3 really good opportunities that should have been goals, quite honestly, but they came through that unscathed, Arsenal. In the second half they improved. It was a great build-up from Weary's goal. It wasn't just a goal, it was a super goal, and Arsenal have been criticised lately because all the goals have been coming from set pieces, nothing from open play. But as far as open play was concerned, that was a near perfect goal. Some lovely little combination plays and a great strike across the keeper. And then of course the late goal from Saka with Timber's great run. The shot was charged down and Saka's followed it up to make it 2-0, and it looks like it was an easy game for them, but it wasn't, and Brighton will be ruining those missed chances.
Third straight home win for Arsenal in just over a week in 3 different competitions. 3 successive away games to follow in the space of the next week or so. But for Fabian Hürzeler and Brighton, who'd won 6-0 away from home in each of the 2 previous rounds, albeit against lower league opposition, setting a new record in this competition in the process. Hit this 4th round hurdle once again, and those fans, although they will take some positives from the performance, as will he, they'll be regretting those missed chances.
Yeah, general play very good though, Phil. They made 6 changes themselves, let's not forget that. So there was a little bit of changing about for Brighton, but they looked the more compact side in that first half, and it was Arsenal who